Right now, let's say, okay, let's create in my desktop, let's say. Right, I'm gonna create a folder called, um, let's say, EX, the Java test, Java EX. Right now, this is where I'm gonna work out here. Right now, in this folder, I have to create, inside this is the working folder, right? Here, I have to create a new folder, that's gonna be code. And inside the code folder, there should be another folder that's gonna be com. And inside the com folder, there should be a Java file, right? Which we have to save it as a student, right? Okay, then let's have the student file. Then I'm gonna make it as a class student. And I want to have the instance variables declared. String name, integer ID, string at right. And then, as we discussed last time, we have to declare the constructor. Constructor has the same name as the class name, student. Right now, since we have not discussed about the access modifiers yet, right now I'm going to use the public access modifier because right, okay, for the time being, remember this, like okay, I will show you it. Now let's declare the constructor. In the constructor, I want to have these variables. Then I need to pass the name, integer ID, and the string address. Then we have used this keyword in order to access when you have the both instance variable and the local variables has the same name. Right, then in order to access the instance variable, we have to use this keyword that we have already discussed last week, and this detectors. Right, and then we have to add another constructor. Then we have to have a method called void print info. This print system dot out dot println. Let's print the name of the student. Name from, I'm not going to print, yeah, let's say ID. The student name from address is going to display. Right. And then I need to have the void methods to set the name, void set name. And then if I need to get the name, then I want to set the name variable value. Therefore, in order to here also the local variable or the parameter is name, and the instance variable also name. Therefore, in order to access the instance variable name, I have to use this keyword, this dot name equals name, right? And the same thing we have to do it for the and let's say we have to get name as well. That has to return. Therefore, the return type is string get name. There you have to return the name. Return. Now the next one is set ID. ID is an integer value, integer ID, and then we can take it from this dot ID is equals to, and return type is integer, integer get ID, which will return the ID, right? And right. Okay, now this is what we have done. We have declared the class student, and then this is the student class. Okay, let's save the student class inside um, the com folder, inside the desktop, inside the Java EX, inside the code, inside the com. Let's save it as student.java, student.java. Right, done. Now I want to create another class called driver. Then let's declare the driver class. Class driver, and then there I need to have the main method, public static void main, bring up. Right now here I want to create the student class object, student stu equals new student. Here I need to pass name, ID, and address. Name, let's say John, ID 111, address. Okay. Right. Then I can call the method print info stu dot print info. And I'm gonna change the name stu dot set name by passing Jack Jane Doe. Let's say name I'm gonna set it as Jane Doe, and I'm gonna set the ID as well. Stu dot set ID. I'm gonna set it as, let's say, 999, and I'm gonna print. Right now, if you want, you can declare variable and you can get the answer and then you could print it. It's easy, I think. Let's say string name and equals, you can get it like stu dot get name. And then you could print like, or rather getting this assign it to a variable, we could print it here, no, inside this. Right. Now let's save this inside the Java EX folder, inside the working folder as the driver.java. Driver.java. Right. Now you can see here inside this Java EX folder, I have the driver.java. Inside the code com, I have the student.java. Right. Then let's compile it and let's see. Right now, okay, if you want to try out, I'll give you a few minutes for you to adjust the code accordingly. Okay, quickly do it. This is the student class and this is the driver class. Right. Okay, quickly. If you haven't done, okay, quickly do it. Right. Right now, here first we need to get into the working folder, right? Then cd desktop, and then inside the desktop I have folder called Java EX. Right now, inside here I have the driver. Okay, let's try to compile the driver class. Will we be able to compile JavaScript driver.java? Right now, here we will get some errors. What are the errors? It says student cannot find symbol, cannot find symbol student. Therefore, cannot find the symbol student inside a class driver. Therefore, you cannot create the object. Right now, okay, it couldn't find the class student. Why is it? Because we have to mention now it is inside a different package now. Now both are not in the same package, same place. Now you can see it here. Right now, even here, you can see the driver class is inside the Java EX folder, and the student file is inside the inside code inside com folder. Right. Therefore, now here I have to mention. Okay. Right now, you have to import from import code dot com dot inside the code package com package. Class name is the student. Inside code.com.student. I have to mention it in the driver class. Import code.com.student. Right now, let's try to compile and see. Now again, right now you can see here. So now I'm getting an error. It says what? Um, I'm trying to import the code.com.student and it says cannot access the student. That means here the file does not contain class code.com.student, because inside this, now here we are looking for the student Java. Then, so here that file does not contain the student.java file. And then again it says this print info, this symbol is not found, and likewise the way these are not available. That is because here in the student class, now student class is inside the COM folder, inside the package. Therefore, if it is inside the package, then we have to declare this is inside the package. Right. Therefore, let's declare it as a package. Package statement. Package. What is the package now? Inside the code, inside the COM. Inside code.com. Package code.com. Okay. Let's save the student class. Right. Now let's run it and let's compile and see. Right now I'm trying to compile. Now when I compile, now I'm getting right now no. Now previously I got error like saying there is a bad source file because there's no such file. That's what I got. Right now I don't get it. Now what it says now here the student is not a public class. The student class we have not declared public access, so therefore it has the default access. If it is the default access, that means a class with default access. That means only the package level access. We're going to talk about the access modifiers most probably today or the next week. But therefore, remember, now this class is a default class. If both are in the same package, we won't get this error. Since these two classes are in two different packages, we got this error right now. Because the class student is default access, that means only within the package level you could access. But now since it is outside the package, the driver cannot access the student. If the driver is inside the COM folder, yes, then it could. But now since the driver is a different package rather the student class, whatever the package inside the student class, therefore now cannot access. Therefore, let's declare this class as a public class. Public class. Right. Now I have declared as a public class. Right. Now let's run it and see. Now when I try to compile, now previously the error was what? Student is not public, therefore cannot be accessed from the outside package. Right now I don't get that error. Now I'm getting there's an error in line number 7. Right now, what is the line number 7 here in the driver class? In the driver class, line number 7. Now here, I guess, is it? Right now in line number, this is line number 7. In this, it says what? Right now, student constructor is not public, therefore cannot be accessed from the outside the package because this is not the public constructor. Okay, therefore let's declare it as a public. Right now, you will see here. Now you are getting errors. What is it now? It says stu.print info. Now we are trying to print info, access the print info method. Then it says print info method cannot find symbol. Why? Because print info is not available. Right now I'm accessing print info. PRIN info, it's there. Therefore, there's no such thing called print info. Therefore, obviously, you will be getting an error saying cannot find symbol because that is not available. Right now, let's change it as a print in the student class and see. Right now, I should get an error saying what? Right now, you can see print info is there, but it is not a public. Therefore, you don't have access to invoke it from the outside the package. Therefore, let's declare it as public class, public method, public. Right now, okay, now you can see here we overcome that issue, but now it is about set name method. In the set name method, again, it is not public, set ID is not public, get name is not public, get ID is not public. Therefore, let's declare all these as public methods because outside the package cannot access. Right now, what it says in line number 12, cannot find symbol this dot address. Right now here in line number 12, there is an error. What is it? You don't find something called ADDDRESS. Right, therefore, that's a mistake there as well. Right, let's correct it. Now you can see it got compiled. Now if you open the folder, you can see student file got compiled accordingly. Student.class is there. Now if I run this Java driver, it says John from UK, John from UK, and now the print info method will print John from UK, but now the name has changed to Joindo, ID has changed to 999. Let's say now I'm going to print name and ID. Name ID equals to right now. Let's compile it. Now, first instance it will print John ID 111, but now it will print name Jane Doe ID 999 because now ID and the name has been changed. This is how it works right now. Let me remove this annotation. Right, if you have any errors, you can clear this. Right now, you can see the structure and let's clear this. Right, try out quickly. Any questions up to now? Please ask. No questions. Right, good. Right, then let's talk about the arrays. Right. Now, for the time being, no, I'm going to use now the NetBeans IDE, and I'm not going to use this notepad anymore. Right. Then let's open the project. Over here we have already. Right. Okay, I just created the class called test and then main method. Right. Okay. Now let's talk about this arrays. Right now, first of all, now we know that we have been using variables. Now, in a variables, right now we discussed there were two type of variables, basically primitive and the reference. And in the primitive data types, there were 8 types we discussed, right? Then namely byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean, and then we discuss about the reference types, string as a reference type, and then just while ago we create a student object that is also reference type variable we created, right? Now, but you know that in a variable we could store only one value at a time, one value at a time. Therefore, if you want to create store multiple values, then we have to use arrays. Now, array is a collection of variables, right? Collection of variables of the same type and referred by a common name. Then that is what you call as arrays. Arrays are data structures which can hold multiple values. Therefore, in order to declare, you can have one-dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays as well. But in order to declare an array, we could use array, whatever the variable data type and the array name, and then square bracket and close bracket. One set of square brackets means one-dimensional array. Right. Now you should ring a bell now because always, all the time, we have been declaring an array. See, now this is the data type, array name, and array delimiter. Right now we have been using this. We have been creating arrays like this all the time. What is it? We have declared an array as a parameter for the main method. Right, now let's declare an array and see. Now integer array called numbers, we can declare integer array called numbers. Right, now this is just declaring a variable called numbers as an array, but we have not declared the size or nothing has done. Therefore, in order to declare the size, you could say new, what type of variables we're going to store, what type of objects you're going to store. Yes, integer type, therefore integer type. Now, how many variables or how many values you want to store? Let's say if it is 10, then you need to say new int 10. What you have done now, you have reserved from the memory to store 10 integers. Right, now you know that already. Integer means 4 bytes variable. Then when you do so, that means 4 into 10, that means 40 bytes from the memory under the name numbers. The numbers referring to a memory block which has 40 bytes in size because it should be able to have 10 integer values. Right now, you have data type, array name, and one-dimensional array. Therefore, one set of square brackets equals, you have to new integer type objects. How many? 10. Likewise, you could declare. Right now, what happens actually? Right now, when you do it in your memory, right now, let's say it's going to allocate 10 set of values. Right now, it's going to allocate right now 10 numbers. Right now, you could hold 10 numbers. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right. Then here since there are 10 numbers you could store, there should be a way to access those values as well. For that, there is something called indexes are there. Therefore, the first position we call as a zeroth index. And then we have first index, second index. This is the first index. This is the second index. This is the third index, fourth index, fifth index, sixth index, seventh index, eighth index, and ninth index. Since the indexes are starting from 0, you can see it gonna starting from 0 since we have 10 size, but the last index is gonna be size minus 9. Right. And then let's say I'm gonna have the values. Right now, I'm gonna have some set of values. Let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. All right. Now these are the values. Let's say now this is referred by numbers. And now this is referred by the numbers. Common name we have used to access this is numbers. Right now, by using numbers, zeroth index. Right. If you say numbers, zeroth index. Now for an example, if you say numbers, zeroth index, that means you are referring to this particular location. And if you say numbers, fourth index, right, that means you are referring to index number 4. If you say numbers, and if you say ninth index, that means you are referring to this particular index. That means if you say number 0, you will retrieve 50. If you say numbers 40, you retrieve 50. If you say numbers ninth index, that means you are referring to 100 index. Right. Now this is how you declare an array. Now here I have just declared the array, and now let's try to assign the values as well. Right. Now for the numbers, we could access by 0th index, let's say 10. Likewise, you could do it. Let's say for the time being, I'm going to declare only size 5 array, and I'm going to assign the variable. 0th index, first index, second index, third index, fourth index. And then I'm going to assign values like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And if you print the first index means what? First index means numbers what? 0th index value. First index means number 0th index value is equals to numbers 0th index value. Right. Now let's run it and see how it's gonna give us the answer. Let's save this and then let's run it. Right now, when you run this, you will see right now first index is that means number 0, which is 10. Likewise, it would print. Right now, let's print all the elements. Right, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. First, second, third, and the fourth. Right. And now if you run this, now here it would display the coding. Right. First index 10, second index 20, likewise it would print. Fifth index 50, likewise this would print. Now this is how you assign the values to an array, and this is how we declare an array. Right. And the same way, right now, right now, let's say now here I'm gonna declare an array. Right now, this is how we did this array. No? Right now, if you want, right, rather doing this. Now, this is one way of doing it. No? Now, let me declare another array called numList, integer numList. And then if you want, rather declare the size inside the curly bracket, you could list down the elements. Likewise, you could list down the elements. And then if you print the num list, what will it print? Now let's see. Right now, if you print the array name without the index, right now what it would print? Let's see. Right now here, now you have printed the array name numbers without any index. Therefore, now it will print the hexadecimal hash code. It will print a hexadecimal hash code. Right now, you can see it's gonna print this. Right. Therefore, now you have to understand that you cannot print like this. Therefore, if you want, you could print index by index, or you could print it by a loop. You could use a for loop. Right now, how can you use a for loop? Right now, we already know that. Okay, let's say for the time being, let's declare some 10 values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right now, here using a for loop, we could print. Well, we have to print the array index number. Let's say, okay, num list. And then I want to display the I value. Right. Right now, like this, if you print, and now it would print like accordingly. Right now, you can see here, it would write right through the for loop according to the values we have. Right. Okay. Now try to use this for loop and then try to print the values of this one as well. Okay, quickly try. Right. Then now we know how to work with an array, right? Okay. Therefore, let me remove the annotations first. Right now, let's ask user to. Okay. Right now, first we'll try to initialize an array using a for loop and see. Right. Now let's say the array size is 10. And also, if you want to get the array size, right now, let's say if you want to, okay, now let's say now we have no clue that how many elements are there in the array. Like we don't have to count every time. Right now, we don't know how many elements are there. Right. Then if you want to get the size of the array, now we could get the size of the array by size. You can get by the array name is numbers dot length. There's a property called length. Now that would display the size of the array. Now that would display the size of the array. Right now that would display the size of the array. Therefore now if you want to run that number of items, therefore if using a loop, for loop, using a for loop, if you want to print up to for loop to run up to this number of items, you don't have to manually count it. You can just take the numbers dot length and instead of here the size, you could have this one. Then this for loop will run up to the number of elements available in this numbers array. And then here I can say write numbers. Right. Now let's run it and see now. Now this would display these elements. Right. Now what I want you to do is declare an array of size 10 and then ask user to enter the 10 numbers. And then here we have 13 number of elements, sorry, 14 number of elements, size is 14. Therefore, last index is 13. Right now, create an array of size 10 and ask user to enter the values and then get the user inputs and assign it to the array and then display the array value. Okay, quickly do it. And how can you do this now? Let's say if you want to declare array of size 10, then you could declare new int size 10. Right. And then we could display, we could ask user to enter the values. So therefore, we can create a scanner class object first. Scanner cn equals new scanner. Use dump in right now. Then okay, right now we can using the for loop. We know that array size is 10, and then we could ask user to enter the number, value 0 index. And we could say for the numbers, for this index, assign the value taken from next int, right? And then likewise, we can get values, and thereafter, I'm going to use the enhanced for loop this time. Right now, the array values are print using enhanced for loops array. So right now, what I'm going to use is for integer objects, for integer objects available in numbers, for integer objects available in the numbers array. I want to print I'm going to print the high values. Right. Now this time I'm not gonna go by the index numbers in the for loop. Now this is what you call as enhanced for loop. Now here how it works. Actually, now for number of integer objects available in the numbers array, this loop will run, and each time one object by object will get assigned to this variable I, and then I'm printing the variable I. And now it will ask to enter the values. Like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then to display the array values like this. Right. Okay, now I want you to get the total of the array values, and then I want you to get, I don't mind which for loop you're going to use, which type, get the total, maximum, and the minimum. Calculate, first ask user to enter the values, and thereafter display the array values, and then display uh, the total value, that means sum, max, and the min. Okay, quickly do it. Okay, this time let me copy. Right. Okay. Right now, do you have the numbers array? Right, and scan right. Right now, in such situations, you can right click and select format, which would format accordingly, enter a number. Right, for this, enter a number. Oh, okay. Array value equals 0. What purpose you are doing this array value equals 0? And then this will run for the number of times and take the values. Fine. Ah. Anyway, Pute, this for loop will run only for 10 number of times, then array values you don't have to take account. And then you don't need it anymore. Right, and then you're good. Anyway, this loop will only run for 10 number of times, right? And after this, you could display the total or the sum is this. Right, but I ask you to calculate the max and the min as well. How would you get that as well? Right, let's see. Okay, here it will take the values, print the values, and total will be 1 to 10 numbers 55. Right, max and the min as well. Right, now how can you get the max and the min? Right, now what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to declare a variable called max and min as well. And then for the, okay, let's say total value equal max and min. And thereafter, after the first for loop finishes, I'm going to assign max equals min equals numbers array zeroth index. I'm going to assign the zeroth index for the both max and the min variable. And thereafter, and each time I'm going to display value in add into the total value, and I'm going to check if max is smaller than, if max is smaller than the I variable, and then max is equals to I, and if min is greater than the I, if min is greater than the I, that means I value is smaller than that, no? Then min equals I, and then I'm gonna display max and the mean. Max and here the mean. Right. Likewise, you could try change. Because why I did not put 0 to the max variable and the mean variable? Because I don't know. Sometimes the array may contain only the negative values, so which are less than 0. Or all the values may be greater than 0. Or there may be negative values. Therefore, I don't know whether getting 0 is not always correct. If you think, if we have all the values are around, let's say, above 20, then if you set minimum as 0, then minimum would be 0 for all the time. And if you say max as 0, and if all the values are less than, that means 0, that means all the values are negative values, then every time the max would be 0. Therefore, it won't be correct. That's why I have taken, now since the array is initialized already, therefore from the array, first index, I have taken the first index value as the max and min. From the array value, one value from the array I have assigned to the max and min variables. Then that's how it works right now. Even if you have only the negative values, it won't be a problem now. Let's try it out. Let's say -1, -14, minus the maximum value is here. I have given whatever. These are the values I have given. Therefore, maximum value is 8. The minimum is -104, 105, 405. Right, then max and the min would be like this. Right, then this is how we do it. Right, one more question, and right, let's say I want you to ask you to enter the values, and then um, you have to make sure only the even numbers added to the array. Only the even numbers added to the array. Only the even numbers added to the array. You have to ask user to enter a number. Only even numbers should added to the array. Only the even numbers should added to the array. Right. And then you have to display that at the end. How many values entered? That means altogether, if you have entered, including the odd numbers, 20 times, 20 numbers, from 20 inputs, only these 10 are taken likewise. You need to display. Okay, try out quickly. The last question and the one-dimensional array. Now you have to ask user to enter the numbers. And then right now, if you want to get the count as well, right now you can say count is equal 0. And then we can have right now each time you run this, you get the let's say temporary number in t equals this, and then you can check whether if t modulus 2, if t modulus 2 equals 0, that means it's an even number, right? Then you're gonna add that into the array. Then numbers ith index is equals to numbers ith index is equals to t, and thereafter we're going to increase the I value by 1. Right. Other than that, we're not going to increase the I value. Right. And then, okay, every time you get the input, right now you're going to increase the count value also by 1. Right. Then you could display the max min also calculated here. It will display and the total number of inputs you could get. Right. Now let's try it and see. You can see here the values are right now starting from this 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Max 20, minimum 2. The total number of inputs taken was 21. Because I started from 1 and then 1 appeared 2 times and then you went up to 20. Then 20 plus 1 is 21 inputs were given, and then from 21 inputs I have to get this array. This is how you do it. Right. Okay, we have discussed this now. Right, enhanced for loop also we have discussed. Minimum, maximum, we have done it. Right. Okay, before I go into the string class, okay, let's talk about the two-dimensional arrays. Right. Now, two-dimensional array. Right. Now, what I want to do is, let's say I want to declare a two-dimensional array. Right. Now, let's see how we can have or let's say we can have Java multi-dimensional arrays. That means how we can work with the multi-dimensional arrays. Under that, I'm only going forward with a two-dimensional arrays. Right. Okay, then let's clear this out. So, multi-dimensional array is an array of arrays. Right now, when you want to store values as a table format with rows and columns, you could use sorry. Right. Right now, let's see how can you declare and arrays. Right. Right now, in multi-dimensional arrays, right? How to declare the multi-dimensional array. Now that's what we need to learn first, and thereafter, how can we access the indexes and what are the indexes? And now that we need to figure it out. Right now, let's say I'm going to declare an array for now 1D arrays we already know, and I'm going to declare the let's say a 2D array. Right now, declare a 2D array. Right now, I'm going to have integer array name. I'm going to define it as right now. Okay, num list. Okay, no, here, to the array integer arr, and then I have to put two array delimiters now in the dimension. This has two dimensions. That is new int, and then we need to declare the size. Right now, here that means how many rows and how many columns we have. That we need to figure it out right now. How many rows and how many columns we need to have. Right. Now, let's say how to figure it out. How many columns and how many rows. Right. Now, let's say I'm going to mention it as 3 rows and 4 columns. 3 rows and 4 columns. 3 rows and 4 columns. Right. 3 rows and 4 columns. Right. Okay. First of all, let's draw 3 rows and 4 column table, and thereafter we will see how to figure out the index numbers. Right now, okay, 3 rows, right? Yeah. Okay, then done with the 3 rows. Now 4 columns. Okay, the line. Right now, okay, here we have the indexes as well, right? Now you know this is the column one. This is right now, these are the columns, right? Okay, here this side we have the columns and we have the rows. We have rows and here we have the columns, right? Then here we have the rows and the columns. And the column numbers also we know that, right? Then column numbers starting from here. This is gonna be 0, this is gonna be 1, this is gonna be 2, this is gonna be 3. Right. And then here also row numbers also we have 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. Right. We have the column numbers as well and the row numbers as well. Right. We have rows and we have the columns. Right. And then we know that this we can call it as a 0, 0 index. Now, if this is referred by, let's say, array A, variable is A, now then this would be array A 0, 0 index, 0, 0 index. And this would be array 1 first row, 0th column index. Now this would be second row, 0th column index. Right? Now this would be 0th row, first column index. First row, first column index. Second row, first column index. And this would be 0th row, second column index. First row, second column index. Second row, second column index. This would be 0th row, third column index. First row, third column index. And second row, third column index. Right now, this is how you can assign the values to this one. Right. Now, this is how the array indexes and the columns and the rows. Now, this is what you can call as a tabular format. Right now, this is a two-dimensional array which has 3 rows and 4 columns. Which has 3 rows and the 4 columns. Right now, how can I assign the values for these? Right now, how can I assign the values for these? Right. Now, even if you have right now, if you want, okay, let's assign some values to this one as well and then see, right, you could do it manually as well. Right now, for each row or each column, like you could assign like ARR, 0th row, 0th column. Likewise, you can assign the value like this. Right. Now, let's say, now I want to assign here right now for these values right now using a for loop. If I want to run through a for loop, and how can I assign the values? So let's say I am gonna assign the values and thereafter through a for loop, I'm gonna display the values first. I'm gonna have what 10. You need to have 12 values, right? Right. Zeroth row. 1, 2, and 3. Zeroth row, first column, second column, third column. I'm going to have 10, 20, 30. Okay, I'm going to have the number. Okay, 10, 20, 30, 4. Right. And thereafter, now the first column values has been set. The same way I'm going to do it for, right, first row done. Now second row, I'm going to assign 100, 200, 300, 400, and then for the second row values, 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000. Likewise, I'm going to have the values right now. The values we have assigned is like now the first row we have right now here. I will write down here the time being. Can we write the same? Okay, and then let's try to use we have 100, 200, 300, 400. And again we have 2000, 4000. Right now these are the values. Right now this is how we have assigned the values. Right now let's print it and see how can you do it. Right now I'm gonna use a for loop, right? A nested for loop I'm gonna use. Right now I know the array size here. Here the first for loop has to run for the number of rows I have. Therefore here it has to run for 3 times, let's say. And the second for loop, right now that I need to run for 4 number of times, let's say. And then I want to display the index number as well, r plus I value, right, and the close bracket and the open bracket and the j value, I and the j. Right, run this one and see how it's gonna go. Right now you will see 0, 0 index is 10, 20, 30, 40. Likewise it's gonna print. Right now here each time I'm gonna use print method plus slash t And then after this for loop finishes, after the first for loop, I'm gonna have an empty line, right? And then see how it looks like. Here we have a multiple set of values here. The spaces might be much different. Now that's why here we ended up by having this. Right. Okay, then here we'll have some set of numbers, 10, 30, 40, and 6, 50, 60, 70, 80, and let's say 25, 85, 95, 99. Likewise, I'm just going to have some set of values. Right now, this would be displayed in a tabular format. See, this is how it looks like now. Right now, my question is right now the same thing here. Now, this is how we have assigned index by index now, because we have already declared the array size as well. Right now, here, now without running this, without doing this, like previously, I could list down the elements inside the curly brackets as well. But curly brackets, how can I do it? Now I have to mention, right, what are the values for the first row, what are the values for the second row, like then let's say I can assign like 1, 2, 3, 4, comma, let's say 5, 6, 7, 8, comma, right, let's say 1, 5, 7, 9. Likewise, I'm gonna assign the values by explicitly list down inside the curly brackets right now, like this here, and then here I have closed the bracket. Right now, this is how I list down the elements, and then see how it looks like. Right now, you can see the first row, zero row, that means first row, first column element is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 5, 7, 9. Likewise, you can assign the values as well. Okay, sometimes you may have assigned like this. What will happen now? Will us end up by having an error, right? Because I'm assigning only 1, 2, 3, and thereafter 5, 6, 7, 8 likewise. Now you will see I'm ended up by getting an error. What is the error? The error is, let me clear this first. Now, array index out of bound exception in line number 24, I'm trying to access right now. Here, the value I got zeroth row, that means zeroth row, second column value is fine. But then I'm trying to print zeroth row, third column index value, which is not available because array index out of bound exception. The value is not available right now. Array is not available. The value is not available. You could declare it, but since here you will end up by getting the error because you are trying to print the array right now. But in such situation, right now, let me show you how to get the array length as well. Right now, if you print uh, if you print the arr dot length, that means the array length. Right now, that means the number of rows. And if I type like first row, now here I'm gonna say number of rows. And here I'm gonna mention number of elements in number of columns in first row. Now here I could mention it like this: 0 array ARR 0 dot length y plus is missing. Right. First, second, third. 0 column, first column, second column. Right. Now if you run this, now it would display the first row, 3 elements, that means 3 columns. The second row, what is that? This means okay, right. Okay, extra bracket. You can see number of rows is 3. Array dot length returns you number of rows 3, number of columns in first row 3, number of columns in second row 4, number of columns in third row 3. Likewise, it would display. Now this is how you assign the values using a list by listing down inside the brackets. Right now, my question is right now here, if you really want to run this through a for loop, if you really want to run this through a for loop, how can you do it? Right now, let's figure it out. Therefore, we have to mention this. This should run for array number of, that means number of rows, and then here each column, that column number of each row, how many elements are there? Each row, how many elements are there? And then we could run right wise. Let's say we will have display what ARR I and J, right, print method plus slash t tab space, and after the for loop we'll have an empty line. Right now, like this, you will be able to print the number of, that means even if you have customized number of values, the different number of values in each row, that is how you run. Okay, now my question is, I want you to print, right? I want you to ask user to enter a number, right? The first row should have, like now here you need to have 10 rows and 3 columns, right? And the numbers should be here. User will enter the number n, right? The second one here, it should display the square value of it, and it should display the cubic value of it. Right now, you will ask user to enter the number, and the array first column contains the n value, the inputs, user inputs. The second column contains the respective square values. The third column contains the respective cubic values for the given input. Okay, try this one and send it to me quickly via chat. Right now, what we need to do is we need to get the user inputs, right? Therefore, we may require the scanner class, not may, yes, we have to have. And then array should have how many rows and how many columns? Let's say 10 rows, and I need new integer, right? 10 rows and how many columns? 3 columns I require. Okay. Now I want to have the scanner class as well. Scanner scn equals new scanner system.in, right? And thereafter, I need to get this thing right. Okay. Even if you know the sizes now, you don't have to do it like this, but if you want, you could. Right now, I can ask user to enter the number. That number we can assign it to the ARR, ith index, ith row, 0. We can get scanner dot next thing. Right. And for the first column, I can assign this multiplied by this to the power 2. For the second column, I can assign first column multiplied by the second column, right? Then have the stage. Right. Now let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, right, 34. We have 1, 1, 1, 2, 4, 8, 3, 9, 27. Likewise, you have the numbers. Then here beforehand, this you could print n slash t n to the power 2 slash 2 slash t n to the power 2. So it will display n to the power 2, n to the power 3, like right. Not only integer types, you could work with the other data types as well. Right. Okay, quickly try out this and then let me know any questions you have. Right, any questions you can ask now, please.